Hey, what's up, everyone? I want to invite you all on the journey. As we embark on this journey, I would love to pick your brain just a little. If you had the opportunity, what would you say to the younger version of you? As you ponder on that, let's take a look at what a special someone had to say when I asked him the same question. I'm Jay Danae, and this is Looking Back.
If I could use 3 words to describe me at 13, I would say I was mean. I was really, really mean. I was really bad. And I was a hoe. If I could have a conversation with my 13-year-old self, I would say to forgive and move on. Because I had a lot of rage because of unforgiveness. And I would also say to slow down. I grew up really fast and I learned too fast. I would say slow down. My mom had me when she was 13 and my grandma took me because my mom was too young. My grandma raised me from a newborn baby until I was 12. And my grandma I was spoiled. She would make up my bed, wash my dishes, cook me food. I was spoiled. Me and my grandma's relationship was like this. If she was still alive, half the stuff I went through with my mom and dad, I probably would never had to go through it. My grandma was like a protector over me. I basically raised myself for the most part. My mom was just in and out. And so I raised myself from 13 to 16. Then at 16, I moved out. However, I had to grow up fast. I had to learn everything because I didn't have anyone else to teach me. Yeah. You know, I was kind of used to it because I didn't have my dad. My grandma had passed, so I was kind of expecting the next person that I cling on to do the same. So I expected her not to be there, and she wasn't. I would say she did what she could, but as far as nurturing me, as far as being there for school events, as far as raising me, she just wasn't there. So I think for me, I stewarded well, and I smiled over it, and I just lived. And so that's why now I'm 22, dealing with those issues of the wounds and things that I just stewarded well over. Oh, I found support in you got sex, baby. I found support in weed, not drugs, it's kind of crazy, but alcohol, fighting, and rage. I found support in that. It actually made me happy to walk over to somebody and knock over their food, or walk over to somebody and smack them. I was one of those kids. I would just get on the road and just throw rocks at people's cars off the bridge. I found support in those things, yeah. Now I look back and was like, okay, I was on an emotional roller coaster. I believe that I was bipolar. I believe that I had so many emotions that I didn't know who to talk to about or how to express them, that I bottled them in, I stored them well, and I lashed it out in sex. I lashed it out in, again, anger. And so when I was by myself, I was just planning my next plot. I was just planning my next scheme. What am I going to do next to get at somebody? What am I going to do next to make me happy? And everybody around me loved me being the mean person, loved me being the class clown. So I literally would go home, not do my homework. I would literally sit and jot down, what are you going to do tomorrow to get the attention that you've been looking for? What are you going to do? So I had some very supportive aunties. I had some very supportive uncles and cousins. My grandma, who's dead, her sister, which is my great auntie, but I call her grandma, they were very supportive and they held me accountable, but they didn't know what to do. I wasn't their child. They didn't know why I was feeling the way I was feeling. They didn't know how to react. All they could do was sit me down and say, hey, we need to have a conversation. And those conversations would literally go out of one ear and out the other. It was like, and so I think at one point they had got tired, like they expected me to get in trouble. And when the school called, it was like, what did he did? What have you done? And they would just come pick me up like, all right. They had got used to it. You know, it's a lot to jungle when you're that young and when you're that angry and when you're that dysfunctional. And then when your parents are too, or your support system that you should have are also dysfunctional and don't know how to react to your behavior. So I struggled a lot. And the way I coped with that was when I got to an age where I was like, this ain't it. Drinking is not it. Smoking is not it. Sex ain't it. I have to get out of this. I believe that's when I was like, okay, if I move, I can prove to myself and others that I'm better than this. I think that it was a certain spirit attached to me where I was in that specific state. Because when I moved, everything just fell in order. So I believe that there was a strong, like, dysfunctional spirit, I guess a bloodline thing, that was attached to my bloodline and DNA. And when I was around those people, it just like, when I was around my family, it just, like, one of my cousins, like, somebody just did something, I'd be like, let's go, that's what you want to do. So, yeah. That started at a really young age. I think I was 5 or 6 when I was in an abusive home situation when I was molested. So I got molested. I couldn't say anything because at that time I was like, oh, I'm 5 or 6. What is this? I don't know what this is. I don't know if I like it. What is going on? And I didn't feel comfortable telling anyone. So imagine being 6, dealing with all of those emotions, and then being muzzled in a sense, and have to go around this person all the time because they are a part of the family. So it started there. And it grew, and since I didn't deal with that, and since I didn't speak on it, and since, you know, I just ignored it and I stewarded it well, because I have a thing where I can steward something nobody had never known. Since I did that, I believe that as I got older, I had to find a way to, like, literally get this, like, I didn't want to think about it, so that's why I was drinking, that's why I was acting out of anger. And so I never really dealt with the root issue. And so, yeah, that's where it started. I think I was 5 or 6, and that's where it really started. And then where it got bad is when I was in 7th grade, maybe, is when it got bad, because it's like, you know what? It's me. This is who I am. This is what I'm going to be. You know, and then when you have family that don't see you trying, or when you have family that don't speak life, a lot of my family, a lot of my support system that I should have had, well, you know, thought, like, he ain't gonna never make it, he ain't gonna never be nothing, he's bad, he's gonna end up in jail, you know. They thought I was gonna end up in jail or dead. When we used to have those sit down talks, they'll say to me, like, if you don't straighten up, you're gonna end up dead, Desmond, or you're gonna end up in jail. And so they didn't really speak life, like, if you stop this, you can be this, you can be that. And so it started there, and yeah. You know, I tell people all the time, if my father was in my life, then I would be dead or in jail. My father is incarcerated for the rest of his life. He killed 1 person and shot 4, I think. And he and our relationship is good. I see him when I go to Minnesota. I see him sometimes. However, he told me himself, I'm glad that I did go to jail when I went to jail and I wasn't in your life. The only reason he wasn't in my life is because he went to jail. But my dad would pick me up. I remember when I was little, he would pick me up. I remember him literally, I don't even know if I was 4 or 5, he gave me a gun and was like, just gave me a gun. I'm just sitting here playing with this big old gun. However, me and him had a conversation like a year ago. I went to see him in jail. It was like Easter last year, and Easter 2 years ago or something like that. And I said to him, no, he said to me, and he looked at me and said, I'm just so proud of you. He started crying. Now, this is a man who killed people, and this is a man who's a gangbanger. He was like, I'm proud of you. And he was like, I really, really thank God that I wasn't in your life. I had felt offended. I was like, oh, you know. And he was like, because if I was, you would probably end up like me. You would probably end up dead, or you would probably be in jail, or you would have been selling drugs, or you would have a disease, or you would have been doing something you had no business. I thank God that I was not in your life. And that to me was like, wow. And so I had when I left, I literally got in my car and cried. I was like, wow, that means a lot coming from him, saying that if he was in my life would have been totally different. And just to know I made him proud, even though he wasn't in my life. At 13, I didn't see my future. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted to do. People used to ask me, what do you want to do when you grow up? I didn't know. At 13, I would have never imagined being the person I am today, or even knowing God as much as I know him, or even being as delivered, healed, and restored as I am today. At 13, I thought that I would probably be dead by 17. There was a word curse spoken over my life at a young age that said I wouldn't make it past 17. Because even when I was getting in trouble, that was the thing around the town. You ain't gonna make it past 17. And so I had literally started believing that. I used to literally plan my death. Like, I'm not gonna make it past 17, so what? And I used to just like, hey, I didn't look forward to my birthdays. I didn't look forward to nothing, because it's like, look, I ain't gonna make it past 17, you know. I told God one day, I had got so angry. I think I was 15 or 16, and I had got so angry. And I told God, it's either me or them. I had 2 people that I was going to kill. I was so tormented in mind, and I was so misunderstood. And I told God, I said, it's either me or them. I'm either going to kill them tonight, or I'm going to kill myself. And the Lord literally redeemed me from that, because I should have been dead at 16. I literally had everything planned out. I'm a processor, so I planned everything out over a couple of days. Like, I'm going to literally do this. It's either me or them, but I'm still here. Didn't really know God until I was around 2011. 2011, I don't know what grade I was in, probably 7th or 8th. Can't do the math. However, I have this friend who we are still friends now. Her name is Latidra. So I will go to her house, and she stayed about 25 minutes away from my city. So I would go to her house like on weekends or something. We would just hang out. So I would go over there. Her grandma, on Sundays, I would just wake up like, okay, you know, cool. And one Sunday, her grandma was like, Red, come on, we going to church. And I was like, I ain't got no clothes and I don't go to church. I don't do that stuff. And her grandma said, oh, okay, okay. So then her grandma came in the room like an hour later, knocked on the door, here you go. And she handed me a Walmart bag. And in the Walmart bag, there were some Walmart khakis and a dress shirt. And she was like, they're going to use some church clothes. Let's go. And I was like, okay, this is awkward, but I'm going to go. So I went to church, changed my life. Church in Mississippi is really different, really religious, but it changed my life. I found out that I had a future. I found out that I was more than what I was in. And I just found God like that. And I began to like literally study the word of God. I literally look up sermons, and I literally just got close to God. And I found out when I got closer to trying to know him, God was literally all along trying to get me to know him, because every time I had a question, he would give me an answer just like that. And I was like, okay, God, was that you? And he would give me things. And I found myself even in high school. I think I was in 11th grade. I would host Bible studies. That's how fast when God changed my life. I literally would host Bible studies in lunchtime at the cafeteria. I was getting closer to God, but I still was in the streets. I was getting closer to God, but God was stripping me. I didn't want to fight no more. I didn't want to have sex as much no more. I didn't want to go out as much anymore. And then when I would want to go out, I still would be like, okay, we're going to church in the morning. Like, we're going to church in the morning. And so my friends, even to this day, some of those friends reach out to me for prayer, reach out to me from a word from the Lord, asking me certain questions about God and stuff like that. So I think what God was doing was, even in my circle of friends, he was like raising me up to be a light. Because even in that, I wasn't perfect at all. Like, I would go to church Sunday and I'll be like somewhere drunk. That Tuesday, I would literally skip school to get drunk. However, I think he was doing it for a purpose, and when he brung it full around, they reach out to me to this day. I need you to pray for me, or I need to work. What is the Lord saying? What does this mean? You know, and they would ask me. They would say jokes like, it would be Saturday and we'd be hanging out, and I'm like, well, I'm finna go in and go to bed. They was like, oh, he going to church tomorrow. He going to church tomorrow. So I believe they took me serious. They took me serious because they started to see the change. Like, I would even tell them, like, we don't got to fight no more. Like, it's just because I was in like this clique. I was in this clique. We all, in high school, everybody had their own cliques. It was like 3 most popular cliques, and I was in one of them. And God just started growing me. Even them, they were growing, and maybe not spiritually, but they were growing like maturely, and they were just growing up. And so we just slowly let a lot of that stuff go. And I believe God used me in a mighty way to do so. I think anybody in my hometown, I think anybody who knew me in my past, I always tell my new friends or my new relationships or my new connections or the people who meet me now, and they tell me within a week, Desmond, I'm proud of you. And I always tell them, don't tell me that. I was like, if you knew who I was, you would be like, just don't tell me that. Because it just freaks me out that people that know me now be like, I'm proud of you, they don't know my past. And it's like, wow. It means a lot to me, but it makes me emotional because I'm like, you proud of me now, but you don't know who I was then, or you don't know what I went through then. So I would say I've changed, like literally, I've changed a lot, and I'm still changing. But the stuff I was doing from 17 and younger, I don't even have the appetite nor taste for it anymore. I don't do those things. I'm dealing with those, the reason that those things were there, but I don't deal with those things. I don't react the same way. I don't talk the same way. I don't have confrontation the same way. If I feel like I'm about to explode, I don't react the same way. It was a point where we just gonna fight. You want to argue? I'm just gonna hit you. Like, I was one of those. I'm gonna hit you first because I don't want nobody to say you hit me first. So win or lose, I'm gonna hit you first. I've ran into crowds of people fighting and got beat up. I've jumped on people's cars. I've hit people's cars with bats. I've done it all. However, now if I'm given the opportunity to have a fist fight, I would probably walk away. I would probably be like, you know, this is not who I am unless they hit me first. You know, I'll back it up with scripture. However, the heavens are open, but I don't react the same way. And honestly, just with the question that you're asking me, I never thought about this stuff. I've never thought about, wow, what did God do for you since 13? And he's done a lot. I don't think it's one word that can describe the change or what God has brought me from and is still bringing me through. There's literally not one word that I can think of. Am I going to hit my grandma and say, Lil Red, I'm proud of you? I probably would have, I probably would like just weep because my grandma, like, she saw me in my future. I believe, like, my grandma was like literally, before even passing, she had saw me in my future. She just supported me in everything, everything. Yeah, I just didn't get the chance to have these kind of conversations with her, but I know that she would be so proud. You want to cut real quick, because I'm getting emotional. I love my grandma. I miss her so much too. I really don't talk about her or think about her that much. If I could use 3 words to describe who I am today, right now, the 3 words that I would describe, that I would use are a son. Many times we forget, or many times we go through those traumatic experiences and don't realize that we have a father that's beyond our natural father. And I did not know what a son was until this year. And I will use son. I am a son. And because I am a son, I'm not what happened to me. I'm not what used to be. I'm not even in present because I'm a son. God has literally redeemed me. However, I would use son. I would use created for this time. I don't believe that I was born for the time. I believe that I was created for the time. Only because you can be born into a situation, but God can create you for the outcome. So I was born into a lot, but God created me to overcome it. And because of that, I'm created for the time, and I'm an overcomer, and I'm victorious. However, I will use son, created for the time, and beyond.